Hi, this is day 17, and we have finished up our training. So if you haven't finished your training, feel like you need more pages, you don't get them. We are moving on. Definitely, we should be on the road to the tent pole. The tent pole's coming very quickly. We should be landing on page 85 today, and we've got the tent pole in 15 pages. So we've kind of got to get our crud together, right? We need to gather whatever army or team we are going to take. We need to establish the villain and what they're doing. Unless you're going to introduce the villain at the tent pole, it will be a reveal like in Fault in Our Stars. But for the most part, the villain has been the human villain. Now, again, usually we only have that secondary villain if we have a non-human adversary, antagonist. So death, sharks, dinosaurs, robots, something non-human, we have a secondary villain. And in Matrix we had a secondary villain. The guy that was betraying them was a secondary villain. So, and in Alien, we have the android who is a secondary villain. The aliens are the primary villains, but we have he's not exactly human, but human-ish villain that's doing stuff very human-like and that we can relate to and understand, and kind of messing with the hero's inner life to throw them off their game. So when they finally do have to meet the true villain, they're shaken because of this betrayal of the other person. The same thing applies to Fault in Our Stars. He betrays them. He invited them there, and he seemed like he was a nice guy, and he turns out to be a horrible jerk and says really horrible things to both of them. That is what we are leading up to. We may even have some physical clashes. We may have some minor battles with mini bosses, like in a video game, until we get to the main boss, who is at the tent pole. So there can be many obstacles to the tent pole that we have to get past. We have to get a key to get a room, to get in the ocean, to go get the submarine, to get to the villain. That is up to you. You may also have subplots afoot. We may be seeing that there is a mole right now. And normally we're at 85, so the action of the tent pole is probably going to start tomorrow. We're probably going to meet the villain on the battlefield tomorrow. We may even do that today. That is up to you. If you don't have a long winding up phase, if you're already there, if the villain's coming to them, or they happen to meet the villain on the way to Damascus, something where we have a surprise attack, it's up to you. But we should definitely be ratcheting up the risks and stakes. This should go beyond the hero usually, unless it's a softer non-action than it is just the hero. But sometimes the love interest's heart is at stake, as in The Fault of Our Stars. But I'm thinking more along the lines of Terminator, Alien, Aliens, Jurassic Park, that we are about to have a major battle with a villain. In Jurassic Park, it was the fact that the gates are down and the T-Rex is on the run, and they are battling dinosaurs, having to hide from dinosaurs, running, dodging. They are definitely not winning by any means. They are not safe by any means. And even after the tent pole, they are not safe. So we have to remember, and then we have to remember they lose. The hero loses. The hero does not win. The hero may scrape it by. He may crawl out of this conflict, but he is not going to win. Now, in these pages, though, we are battling up. We are gearing up for a win. The hero is doubtful but hopeful of a win. Certainly the magician hopes it's going to be a win. The love interest and the sidekick are both, it's a win, we can do this, woo! We cannot, but we can't feel that now. I mean, I guess you can have some hopelessness going in, but then it kind of undercuts the fact that it really was hopeless, right? I like to build up to, woohoo, this is an important fight, we can win, and then have it all crash down around my hero and his team. So that's what we're writing for the next few days, and I think 3 days. My math may be off on that. We will be at the height of the tent pole, so we will be within 15 pages right now. We will be at the climax, the height of that tent pole. So you really need to be thinking about gearing up for that and pacing for this. And many times beginning writers want to drag this out and spend a lot of time telling me things. We don't want to be told things right now, by any means. Nothing. We don't do really character work. We don't have emotional conversations at this point. We may have an inspirational speech. We may have a rallying cry, but we really need to be moving and getting on to this tent pole, which of course is a mini climax. You need to convince the reader that you can pull something really spectacular off that is going to surprise them and excite them and fulfill them in whatever genre you're working for. always genre dictates how you write this. I'm just saying you have to write it. That if this is a mystery, you better have a great red herring, you better have an exciting takedown and a shocking reveal that that is not the killer. In a romance, you need to have something really bad happen. Many times in romance, this is where in the middle of the story, maybe the hero realizes this love of their life, but then they get separated somehow. There has to be something exciting happen. Exciting. Your job is to entertain, and the tentpole and the ramping up to the temple is some of the most exciting pages of this book outside of the climax. So whatever you did in the opportunity, you now have to outbeat. And be prepared for an even bigger thing in the climax. Now, there are times when I get to the tentpole and I actually write the action I had planned for the climax and I put in the tentpole. And that puts me in a really awkward position because now I have to think of a brand new climax that now outbeats the climax I had planned. And you know what? That is my job. That is my job. My job is to think of better. My job is to make things worse for the hero. My job is to be inventive, be imaginative, and be creative. Don't forget that. That's your job. Your job is not to rehash what has already been done before. It is not to do the most superficial, easy thing in your brain. And again, if you're struggling to write, just put all this aside, and this is something we'll deal with in the rewrite. But feeling pretty strong, I want you to up your game. I want you to up your game on this tentpole. All right, I really challenge you to write the most exciting, thrilling tentpole you can. And again, this can be a super soft, inspirational, Amish story. It doesn't matter. You better have a tentpole and it better be exciting to that audience. Remember, everything I'm saying is to your genre's audience. Make sure that whatever they're reading this genre for, you bring it in the tentpole. And again, if you can't, we'll do a rewrite, or you may do it in like your fourth book. That's fine. But I like to tell you the goals of what we're doing so you have an idea of it, to know what to shoot for. And if you can't quite get there, that is fine. Next time you know that you want to spend maybe more time in the preparing phase of the book of really kind of hammering out in your head the exciting tentpole. I normally have the turn of the act, the tentpole, and the climax, and how the book starts. I usually have 4 things before I start a book. I may not know how it ends, but I, for the love of God, kind of know the genre and the basic where is the climax going to happen and some major action. You may not have had that coming in, so you might want to start thinking about that if you haven't already. And again, next time we're just going to do better. We're going to do better with our second book and our third book and our fourth book and our fifth book. So today, ramp up to the tentpole. You may start some action, some actual conflict between the villain and the hero. And I will see you tomorrow.